Baby, buckle up. Welcome into another edition of the All Access Football Daily Show here on this Sunday, September 21st, 2025. NFL week number 3. Can you believe it? Unbelievable how fast time flies. We got a great show lined up for you today. Flying solo on you. And we're going to go around the league. The NFL pick'em is in full effect. We're trying to get our technical difficulties straightened out. I'm sorry the Facebook stream isn't up, but if you're tuned in on YouTube or Twitter, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe. This is your NFL Pick'em. And so far, season to date, we are 21-12. We did drop the Thursday night football game this week, started off on an 0-1 slant, but you know what? Very respectable after 2 weeks here, 21-12 against the spread. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go around the league with the spread, pick them, all the winners, all the news and notes, all the latest injury updates. So let's get to it, shall we? Oh, baby. NFL Week 3 around the league. Rick Saratella in the saddle, flying solo. And, guys, we got to start off with this quarterback showdown between Jake Browning and Carson Wentz. What? Tell me it isn't so, Rick. NFL Week 3, we got Browning, we got Wentz, we got the Minnesota Vikings coming in at 2.5, over under 41.5. Carson Wentz set to make NFL history, his 6th start in 6 years with 6 different teams. Hey, Kevin O'Connell, he's known to be a QB whisperer. We'll see if he can get it done. I think he'll need to pull a rabbit out of the hat in this one. Of course, Jake Browning steps in for Jake Burrow. From one JB to another, Burrow undergoing surgery this week will be out for at least 3 months. And Browning did very well in relief, 241 passing yards, 3 touchdowns last week, including 1 via the ground. And he was 4-3 back in 2023, filling in for Joe Burrow. We mentioned Burrow's out. Shamar Stewart, the rookie defensive lineman for the Bengals, is out. Cam Taylor-Britt, the cornerback, is going to be doubtful, and cornerback DJ Turner also questionable for your Bungles. Jamar Chase, he just doesn't slow down. It doesn't matter who's slinging the pigskin. 14 for 165 a week ago with a touchdown. T. Higgins also with a touchdown. How about Mitchell Tinsley out of Penn State getting his first career touchdown last week? Trey Hendrickson, no training camp, no problem. He's making sacks. Big pass deflection last week. Demetrius Knight, the linebacker, making plays all over the field. Geno Stone with 9 tackles last week. The Bengals could be 3-0 for the first time since 2015. Put them in a peculiar spot as they await Joe Burrow. J.J. McCarthy, we know, is out. Ryan Kelly, the center, also out. So Wentz will be snapping to his backup center. Justin Schooley, the offensive tackle, also out for the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones, the running back, a little bit banged up. Expect Jordan Mason to get a heavier workload than usual. Justin Jefferson, 502 receptions, and he tied Larry Fitzgerald last week for the fastest to 500 receptions. He did it in 26 years old, 90 days, the youngest person tying Larry Fitzgerald. Of course, they got Adam Thielen back in the mix. TJ Hawkinson is going to probably be looked a lot by Carson Wentz. Now, Alex Van Ginkel, Harrison Smith, both enter the game questionable. They are expected to suit up. And keep an eye on Dallas Turner, who's stepped his game up. However, I know the Bengals are favored. I just don't see – I'm sorry, the Vikings are favored, but I just don't see Carson Wentz. I don't have the confidence. And despite me, I'm a big fan of Kevin O'Connell now. I think he's one of the best head coaches, but this is a little bit too much to overcome. Give me the Bengals, 24-16, to take care of business in this QB showdown. Okay, how about those Green Bay Packers? They're rocking, they're rolling. They head into the mistake by the lake. The Cleveland Browns 0-2, Packers 2-0, favored by 7.5 here, over under at 41.5. They have not played since 2021. Green Bay coming out 24-22 in that one. All right, Green Bay injuries. Jaden Reed is out. Christian Watson out. Wide receivers are down for the Cleveland Browns. Defensive tackle Michael Hall out. On the offensive line, keep an eye on this. Joel Bitonio and Jack Conklin, both questionable. 2 starters on that Cleveland Browns offensive line. We'll see if Joe Flacco gets the hook, because Dylan Gabriel threw his first NFL touchdown in his rookie debut last week. I expect to see the rookie again in there this week. You could have a rookie backfield because Quinshon Judkins is getting the start for Cleveland. He had 71 scrimmage yards a week ago. Of course, Jerry Jeudy with 51 receiving yards last week, and Harold Fannin making a name for himself. 12 catches in this early NFL season, a $111, and Garrett Miles just does Garrett Miles things. 6 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks so far. How about Mason Graham getting into it? The first-round rookie out of Michigan. He had 5 tackles, including 1 tackle for a loss last week. And Schlesinger, the linebacker, leads all rookies with 12 tackles. It's a very young ball club this Cleveland Browns team is. And for the Green Bay Packers, we've seen Jordan Love elevate his game. He's got a little bit of a thumb injury on that left hand. No problem. 490 passing yards, completing his passes at 66 percentile, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions on the season. And Jacobs back there just keeps on keeping those legs moving. How about Tucker Kraft? He popped up on the injury report. He's expected to play. He leads the team in receiving, 140 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Look out for Luke Musgrave. Big week coming for him. All right, on the defense, the Packers are just coming at you from every different angle. Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary has 2.5 sacks. Devontae Wyatt has a pair of sacks. Parsons 1.5. Kayshawn Nixon, 5 pass deflections a week ago. The first player since James Bradbury to do that back in 2023. And Edgerrin Cooper's just there to mop up the mess in aisle 9. 10 tackles and a half a sack last week. Don't forget about the X-Man, Xavier McKinney, hanging out in the back. Hey, I'll tell you what, McKinney comes up with an interception. Green Bay rolls easily, 27-17. Never mind that 7.5. All right, what's the next one you say, Rick? Let's get it going. Atlanta, 1-1 at Carolina, 0-2. Falcons come in at favored 5.5, over under 44.5. They did play last January, a regular season matchup. Carolina came out 44-38 in overtime. However, the home team has won 4 of the last 6. Now, you know Carolina got off to that hot finish last year, but I don't believe in them this year. Even though Bryce Young had a career high, 35 completions and 328 passing yards a week ago, 3 touchdowns. That's a bad sign. That means the Panthers are playing catch-up ball. Never a good thing. But Tetiora McMillan, the rookie, 100 yards receiving, the first Carolina rookie wide receiver to do that since DJ Moore back in 2018. How about that? Jatavian Sanders, he's coming on in that offensive scheme as well. I just don't think they have enough ammunition or firepower, even though for Atlanta, Jamal Agnew, the wide receiver, kick returner, is out. Casey Washington, the wide receiver, is out. In the secondary, cornerback A.J. Terrell, big loss, is out for the Falcons. Carolina will be down to Sean Wharton, the defensive tackle, as well as the linebacker, Patrick Jones. Wide receiver Xavier Leggett is questionable with a hamstring injury. Now, expect a lot of Bijan Robinson in this game, 168 scrimmage yards a week ago. And we talked about rookie impact for the Browns. Well, how about these Atlanta Falcons? I love what Terry Fontenot has done. I think he's one of the best general managers in football, quite frankly. Took a lot of heat and criticism for the Michael Penix selection. How's that working out for him? Looks pretty good. Jalen Walker had a sack. James Pierce had a sack. Xavier Watts had an interception. Billy Bowman, he had a sack 2 weeks ago, and he had an interception this past week. They're all rookies, ladies and gentlemen. They're all making big-time impact. 4 rookies on that Atlanta defense. How about Divine Diablo making big plays all over the field, fumble recovery, pass deflection? Atlanta is going to come out of this one on top. All right, 24-20. Atlanta favored at 5.5, but you saw Carolina with that backdoor cover a week ago. They have a tendency to keep these games close. You could see something similar. Keep an eye on J.C. Horn, the Carolina cornerback, against Drake London here. London coming off a career-high 187 yards and 2 touchdowns in the last meeting versus the Panthers back in January. But I think Atlanta gets it done. Carolina with the backdoor cover. All right, sticking on the 1 o'clock games. Houston, Jacksonville. This one's at CBS. Jags coming in -1.5. Texans, not a very good road team, looking for the first win of the season. Now, Houston has won 12 of the last 14 against Jacksonville, including back in 2024. Houston coming out 23-20 in that one. All right, injuries. Jalen Smith, the rookie corner out of USC, he'll be out for the Houston Texans. Over on the Jacksonville side of things, Wyatt Milam, the offensive guard there out of West Virginia, also a rookie. He'll be out for the Jaguars. I really like what Jacksonville is doing here. C.J. Stroud has been a little bit slow to start out of the gates. Just 395 passing yards thus far, only 1 touchdown on the season. How about Nick Chubb, stating his case for comeback player of the year? 72 scrimmage yards last week, 103 rushing yards on the year, got his first touchdown, sniffing out that pay dirt. I expect him to find the end zone once again. All right, of course, they got Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Dalton Schultz, but I don't know if Houston can overcome this upstart movement down there in Jacksonville. Now, I will say this. They got some playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. Danielle Hunter, 2 sacks and a forced fumble last week. Will Anderson, the heart and soul of that defense. But Derek Stingley, he's been a Jacksonville Jaguar killer. 9 pass deflections, 3 interceptions in 4 games versus the Jaguars. Keep an eye out as Stingley will get matched up against Brian Thomas, who's been suffering from a case of the dropsies. And you know what? I like how Jacksonville's employing now Travis Hunter on a week-to-week basis. Last week, he became the first player since 2012 to play 20 snaps on offense, 20 snaps on defense. He had 3 catches, 2 tackles. What's Travis Hunter going to do this week? I don't know, but I know Jacksonville is going to win this one. Give me the Jaguars, 24-20. Woo! All right. We got through the first 4 games on the 1 o'clock docket. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to highlight the marquee matchups from those 1 p.m. games. We also have a handful of 4 o'clock games. And, of course, we'll get to the Giants and Chiefs for that Sunday night football game. You're tuned in to the All Access Football Show with Rick Saratella. We're live each and every day, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. Hey, RIC and a place to be. Rick Saratella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world-famous All Access Football, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world-famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, the show must go on. For Rick Saratella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody. All right, back at it again. All right, seeing the place to be. Rick Saratella telling like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern here on the All Access Football Daily Show. It is your home for real football talk. We're going around the league. Just got into kind of the soft schedule of the 1 o'clock games in the A segment. We're going to get into more of the marquee matchups from the 1 o'clock docket in just a minute. Tomorrow, make sure you tune in. We'll have the college football recap. We'll have the NFL recap. We'll talk NFL draft. If we have time at the end of the show, I'll give you a few thoughts and impressions from last night's and yesterday's college football slate. But today is the NFL Pick'em show. We are 21-12 against the spread. We got 4 picks, in the books. And we got 5 more games to highlight on the 1 o'clock docket. So let's do it, everybody. Buckle up. It's the league where they play for pay. All right. The Las Vegas Raiders 1-1 entering the Washington Commanders, also 1-1. Washington favored 2.5 here, over under 43.5. This one's 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Last time these two teams met, we got to go all the way back to 2021. Washington coming out on top 17-15. But these two teams have changed a lot, including the Washington Commanders, who are expected to be without Jaden Daniels this week. That can make things interesting in this matchup because in comes Marcus Mariota. Oh, by the way, remember me? He faces his former team in the Raiders. They also have a rookie running back by the name of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, also known as Bill. Now, we pumped him up last week, and he didn't really deliver, so we're going to double down and bank on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt to come through for a big day for those Commanders. In fact, I think he's going to outshine the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft, who would be Ashton Jeanty. Jeanty, just 81 rushing yards on the season. Of course, Geno Smith has been a turnover machine, 4 interceptions, just 1 touchdown on the season. All right, Deebo Samuels for the Commanders, he's been doing it running the ball. He's been doing it catching the ball. You also saw McLaurin get involved last week with 5 catches. Zach Ertz still doing his thing, 6 catches for 64 last week. On the defensive side, this is the oldest team in terms of average age, NFL experience. Bobby Wagner leading the pack, 11 tackles. Von Miller, he had a half a sack last week. All right. Deron Payne, he's a problem up front. Marshawn Latimer, he's holding it down in the back end. Can the Raiders overcome this? Let's talk about it, shall we? I mentioned Ashton Jeanty. He's got the tire stuck in mud, just can't really get it going. Brock Bowers was banged up last week. He's expected to play. He has 141 receiving yards so far. Jacoby Myers has really emerged as the leading receiver with a $165. Trey Tucker with the deep downfield threat. I'm still awaiting Dante Thornton's outcoming party, the rookie out of Tennessee. I think he's going to have an impact in this offense. Now, Mad Max on defense, he's been getting some help from Tyree Wilson, of course, Jeremy Chin. I don't think the Vegas Raiders have enough to win this game, despite Marcus Mariota playing. I think Washington is going to escape this one at home. They're favored by 2.5. Give me Washington 23-20 over the Raiders at the 1 p.m. game. All right, Indianapolis 2-0. Can you believe it? Unbelievable. Tennessee Titans 0-2, 1 p.m. CBS. The Colts coming in as a 5.5 favorite, led by Indiana Jones. No more Danny Dimes. He's Indiana Jones now, completing 71.4% of his passes, 588 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's the only quarterback with a passing and rushing touchdown through each of the first 2 games. And how about this? The Colts, the first team in NFL history to not punt the ball, not a single time, not a single possession through their first 2 games. Buckle up. Something special brewing up in Indianapolis. The J-Train, Jonathan Taylor's been rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, 236 rushing yards. Tyler Warren, who I think could be Rookie of the Year, has 155 receiving yards. And it's really relatively unknown cast when you talk about Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, 6 catches last week. Who's going to make a play this week? It doesn't matter because the Colts are coming into this matchup just too much for the Tennessee Titans to handle. And they're going to be down to Vondre Sweat, who they placed on the IR this week. He's going to miss at least 4 games. Now, Cam Ward has struggled a little bit. He's flashed the arm talent, but just 50% of his passes are being completed. 287 passing yards, just 1 touchdown, no interceptions, a lot of drops there, including Calvin Ridley, who needs to step his game up. Of course, Tony Pollard's there in the backfield. Alec Ayumana, the rookie out of Stanford, 4 catches last week. And, of course, we mentioned Sweat is out, but Simmons there in the middle. He's the anchor, 9 tackles and a sack last week. L'Jarius Sneed, McCrary, Hooker, the secondary, they're going to lock down this Tennessee offense. Now, I will say, they're going to lock down the Indianapolis receivers, but it's not going to be enough. And I will say, Indianapolis's defense, I want to say something about this defense because the offense gets a lot of credit, but they got some solid playmakers in Grover Stewart, Kwity Paye, Latu, Zaire Franklin, Cam Bynum. I mean, there are solid players all over this Colts defense. In fact, I like Indianapolis so much this week. They're going to be one of my best bet locks. Give me the Colts minus the 5.5, taking care of business very easily in Tennessee today, 31-17 for those upstart Colts. They're going to start off 3-0. Unbelievable. All right, New York Jets. They're unbelievable how much they stink. And now Justin Fields is out. Tyrod Taylor's in. 28-28, 500 quarterback. He's going to face the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are 2-0, and they've got injuries all over the place. But all they do is find a way to win. Baker Mayfield, first team since 1970 to drive his team to back-to-back come from behind game-winning drives, and he's going to be back at it again. All right, listen to this. Tristan Wirfs out. Chris Godwin out. Good news on the horizon, though. Those two guys are expected to be back for week 4 when they face the Eagles. Goki out, the tackle. Elijah Cansey out for the season. Cody Mauch, the guard, out for the season. It doesn't matter. The Bucks are clicking. Emeka Egbuka now popped up as questionable. He is expected to play with the hip and groin injury, but he could be on a snap count, so keep an eye on that. You're going to have Mike Evans going up against Sauce Gardner in this. Evans, 7th straight game he's seeking with at least 5 catches, still hunting for his first touchdown. Could he get it this week? We shall see. Baker Mayfield's playing lights out, 382 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and that 1-2 combination of Bucky Irving, Rachaad White. You saw Rachaad White with that late game-winning touchdown a week ago. Now, a couple of old friends here. Hassan Reddick, Todd Bowles, hosting their old team. What a weird, bizarre stint it was for Hassan Reddick in New York. He spent more time over in China walking around the streets in anime than he did in practice. And Todd Bowles, a New Jersey native, definitely has this game circled on his calendar. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at Justin Fields. The Jets are going to be down. The running back, Kenny Ngwangu, who has yet to play. Josh Reynolds out, the wide receiver once again. Defensive tackle Jay Tufili will miss this one, as will defensive end Jermaine Johnson. The Jets are down. They're out. Will McDonald showed a lot of promise with 2 sacks. Quentin Williams always going to be steady. He's got 3 tackles for a loss and a sack this year. Sauce Gardner, as we mentioned. The Jets are going to have a solid defense, but the offense just isn't going to be able to put up enough points. The over-under is 42.5. I like the under slightly here, but I like me the Tampa Bay Bucks. Favored by 6.5, no problem. 25-16. Give me the Bucks. All right. Up in New England, we got 2 Northeast teams. Smash Mouth football when the Pittsburgh Steelers 1-1 travel into Foxborough to take on the 1-1 New England Patriots. Pittsburgh favored by 2.5 here, coming off that disappointing loss against Seattle a week ago. Over under 44.5. Now, the last time these two faced was back in 2023. New England coming out on top 21-16 there. Pittsburgh getting some bad news this week. Max Sharping, their offensive guard, out for the year. Also, Alex Highsmith is out. Joey Porter Jr. is out. Deshaun Elliott is out. That's 3 key starters on the defensive side of the ball. For New England, Christian Gonzalez, who showed up as questionable, is expected to be out. Not expected to play. All right. In comes Aaron Rodgers, 4 big touchdowns in week 1. Nothing doing since then. 2 interceptions. DK Metcalf with a touchdown last week. How about TJ Watt? 108 sacks in 123 games. He can pass DeMarcus Ware for the second most sacks through 125 games. Marcus Ware had 110.5. TJ Watt really hasn't been showing up. Maybe this week he does. Cam Hayward shows up. Patrick Queen shows up. How about Jack Sawyer filling in for Highsmith out of Ohio State? 5 tackles in his first career sack last week. We'd love to see it. Peyton Wilson, we talked to Bo Marchant on the Football Friday affair, not playing his best football, but Jalen Ramsey, his 25th career interception last week. Over on the New England side, Drake May is playing very efficient, completing 71% of his passes, 517 yards on the year, 3 touchdowns, just 1 interception. They just don't have much of a ground game, right? So we'll see if they can get the ground game going. How about Kayshon Boutte? We love us some Boutte. Boutte, with 119 receiving yards last week, led the team. Stephon Diggs, I'm expecting a big bust-out game this week. And the new additions for New England on the defensive side of the ball, Harold Landry, 3.5 sacks. Milton Williams, 2 sacks. Those guys are stepping up, as is rookie Craig Woodson out of Cal, 6 tackles a week ago. He's going to pair with Kyle Duggar to form that safety tandem. But at the end of the day, I think Pittsburgh is going to gut it out, grind it out. A lot of Warren, Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson. I can see Pittsburgh escaping with the last-second field goal as time expires. Give me the Steelers to cover that hook 23-20 and emerge from Foxborough 2-1. All right, one more game for the 1 o'clock games. One more game for the 1 o'clock slates. This is the key matchup of the 1 o'clock game. Rams 2-0. Eagles 2-0. Eagles favored by 3.5. Over under is 44.5. This one 1 p.m. on Fox. Now remember that NFC divisional game back on January 19th in the snow. The Rams gave them more than they can handle. Philly won that game 28-22. As you know, the rest is history. And the Eagles are coming off an ugly slobber knocker against the Chiefs. They seem to get it done. The tush-push remains undefeated. But the Rams come in here. Stephen Avila, doubtful on the offensive line. For the Eagles, running back Will Shipley will be out. Otherwise, both teams relatively healthy. Okay, we know about the back issues with Matthew Stafford, but he just carved up the Eagles last year in that playoff game. 324 yards, in fact, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Could he replicate the magic? They're going to need it because Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, these guys have been a great 1-2 punch. And Kyron Williams is going for his 31st consecutive game with at least 50 scrimmage yards. He's got the longest streak in the NFL when it comes to that. Kyron Young, 2 sacks and a forced fumble last week. But Jared Verse, he was a monster in that playoff game, as was Braden Fitz. Verse, 3 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks. Fisk with a sack. He's got an oblique. He's going to play. So Verse, Fisk, the young gunners on the defensive line will be in action for the Rams. But guess what? The Eagles' heart and soul of their defense also starts on the defensive line because Jordan Davis has stepped up in a huge way, playing alongside Jalen Carter. These guys are just stuffing the run. They're getting after the quarterback. I'm telling you, man, Zadarius Smith was added. He had a sack last week. And how about the rookie Mukamba out of Texas making plays, the game-clinching interception there against the Chiefs. A.J. Brown got into the mix with 5 catches. Devontae Smith, 53 yards a week ago. Now, Jalen Hurts really hasn't been passing the ball very much. Here, down the road in Philadelphia, they are criticizing these Eagles. They're saying, why aren't we passing the ball? Did Jalen Hurts forget how to throw it? Just 253 passing yards, no touchdowns. He does have 45 rushing touchdowns, the 3rd most ever of any quarterback in NFL history. That includes the playoffs. Saquon Barkley, he had 205 rushing yards against the Rams in that playoff game, including 232 scrimmage yards. I think the Eagles are going to escape here. I like Philly 27-24. Give me the Eagles, but I don't feel great about it because if the Eagles are going to lose one game, this could be one. The Rams are right up there. And when you talk about the cream of the crop in the NFC, I do believe it starts with these 2 teams. You got the Eagles and you got the Rams, and I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not too far behind. So this one could have playoff implications down the road in terms of home field advantage once we turn the calendar. Oh, my God, we're freaking rocking and rolling on this Sunday, September 21st, 2025. We got the 1 o'clock games down. 9 games down. That means we got 5 more to go, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into the 4 o'clock slate. A lot of games to highlight here on the All Access Football Daily Show. Check out allaccessfootball.com. We got a great promo going on for our listeners. Use our discount code, RICVIP. You get a 30% discount. Unlock the magic. Our draft insider reports, the All Access Football Report, Monday, tomorrow, we'll have the Scout Notebook highlighting all the top prospects from the college football weekend that was. And of course, tomorrow on Monday's show, we're going to go a recap around the league, all the NFL action that was, the college football moving and shaking, NFL draft watch. That's on Monday's show. Tuesday, must see appointment tuning programming. Mike Kelly, good friend of the show from the Continental Football League, is going to join us on Tuesday, give us a sneak peek of the new Pro Football League launching in the summer of 2026. We're excited to find out more about that. Of course, Wednesday, the legendary Howard Balzer, 50 years of covering the NFL, joins us each and every Wednesday. Of course, a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, Sirius XM Radio, Cardinals Newswire. And Thursday, we've got Chad Ryder lined up for our Thursday edition. Of course, NFL draft, NFL analyst over at NFL.com. I've known Chad for a long time. He always brings the heat. We're working on the Football Friday affair. Get a guest booked for you by then. And then Saturday, if you missed it yesterday, each and every Saturday, our residential scout, Russell Landy, former NFL, XFL, CFL scout, each and every Saturday on the college football pregame show. Now, when we come back, we're going to go around the league. NFL Pick'em, like I said, 21-12 this year against the spread. We're going to try to do better this week. So when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to dive right in to the 4 p.m. action. Hey, RIC and a place to be. Rick Saratella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world-famous All Access Football. And you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world-famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off, rain, sleet, hail, snow. The show must go on. For Rick Saratella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody. All right, back at it again. All right, seeing the place to be. Rick Saratella telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, especially on Sunday for our NFL Pick'em. We're 21-12 against the spread on the season. We just highlighted all of the 1 o'clock action coming up here on this NFL Week 3. The season is just flying by. Next week will already be a month into the season. We'll be a quarter way through it. Unbelievable how time flies. And the All Access Football Daily Show airs live 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. It is your home for real football talk. And we got a lot of great podcasts on the All Access Football Network, including the All Access Football Daily Show. Of course, Scouting the League with our good friend Neil Stratton and Roderick David. They've been doing a lot of great interviews that you can find over on the website, as is QB Huddle, which airs usually on Tuesdays. QB Huddle, everything quarterbacks, Tim Smith, Lo Morales breaking it down every Tuesday. And of course, New and Blue, a New York Giants podcast that we do right here in New Jersey. There really hasn't been a lot of new excitement since the preseason, but we do air Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And I do apologize, we don't have the Facebook stream rocking and rolling today. But if you are on YouTube or you are on the Twitter X platform, please like it, share it, subscribe it, get our new show alerts. And it's time to break down the 4 o'clock action in the National Football League. All right, 4 o'clock action. Let's dive into it. We got the New Orleans Saints 0-2. Traveling to the Seattle Seahawks 12th man arena. 1-1 Seattle is 7.5. The Seahawks are favored over under 41.5. This one at 4 p.m. on CBS. How about Cam Jordan? He's going to pass Drew Brees today for the most games ever played by a New Orleans Saints. 229 games. Woo! Unbelievable. Alvin Kamara, he's been a subject of trade talks. He's not going anywhere, folks. Alvin Kamara is a Saint, and I don't expect him to be traded. But Spencer Rattler, his audition has not been too bad. 421 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's completing 65% of his passes. Sam Darnold, 67% with 445, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. A little bit shaky with Darnold, but he pulled it out last week against those Steelers, didn't he? All right, for New Orleans, offensive guard Dylan Ray Duns will be out. Defensive end Chase Young also out once again. Seattle Seahawks relatively healthy, and this new Legion of Boom secondary. You see Tariq Woolen making plays, Byron Murphy, Julian Love. How about Josh Joby coming over from the Eagles and making an impact in that Seahawks secondary? All right, of course, Kenneth Walker the 3 will have that ground game attack rolling for the Seahawks. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's been lighting it up. 227 of those 445 passing yards thrown by Darnold. Now, he will play, but he's going to play through an illness, that Jackson Smith and Jigba. Cooper Kupp, 90 yards last week. He needs 119 yards. He might just get it today to surpass 8,000 for his career. We mentioned Spencer Rattler, Alvin Kamara. How about Juwan Johnson, the tight end, making plays over there? 13 catches for $125, giving Chris Olave some help in the passing game. Even Rashid Shaheed sighting last week, 52 yards. Demario Davis, Pete Werner, they're going to hold it down for the Saints defense. And I think this could be a letdown game. It's just a gut feeling here. The Seahawks had to travel cross country, gut it out against a tough Steelers team. They may play down to the competition here. I do like Seattle to win this one, 21-16. But I think the Saints cover with the 7.5. All right, Dallas, 1-1. At Chicago, 0-2. This one, 425 on Fox. Cowboys coming in on the road as a 1.5-point favorite. That should shock nobody because the Bears' Ben Johnson experiment has been a debacle, ladies and gentlemen. High-scoring game affair, possibly. 49.5 with the over-under. The last time these two met was back in 2022. Cowboys coming out 49-29 in that one. Now, Deron Bland, the cornerback for Dallas, will be out. Chicago's very banged up, including their offensive guard, Karan Amadeji. He's out. But on defense, check this out. TJ Edwards out. And then 3 cornerbacks. 3. Count them, guys. Jalen Johnson out. Jalen Jones out. Kyler Gordon out. That tells me CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are going to feast. This could get ugly, guys. All right, Caleb Williams is making his 20th career start. He's 5-14 as a starter. Not very good. 417 yards this year, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Will this be the week we see Tyson Bagent again? Could be. Roma Dunze, he's playing pretty good. He's got all 3 of the Caleb Williams touchdown passes. And CeeDee Lamb, we mentioned, 222 yards this year, still searching for his first touchdown. I think he gets it today. Javonte Williams holding it down on the ground game. He showed us something here. And even Kevontae Turpin chipped in with a touchdown last week. Now, Jadeveon Clowney will be making his Dallas Cowboys debut. A little bit of juice off the bench. Well, guess what? They're not going to need it because they're going to fly. They're going to soar. The Cowboys are going to cowboy up. I see another beatdown coming for the Chicago Bears. It won't be another 50-burger like they did against Detroit, but I think Dallas rolls. In fact, I'm going to make the Cowboys one of my best bets this week. I like Dallas in a big, big way. 38-17 as they pummel the Chicago Bears up there in Chi-Town. All right, Denver Broncos 1-1. LA Chargers, it's an AFC West affair. Chargers favored by 2.5 in this one, over under 45.5. And I do think these are the two teams to beat in the AFC West as it stands right now. This one's going to be 4:05 on CBS. Last year they met. Chargers won the last one 34-27. All right. Now, they can be 3-0 for the first time since 2002, the San Diego or Los Angeles Superchargers. Excuse me. But I'll tell you what, let's talk about it and be about it. Denver, tight end Evan Ingram's out. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw out. For the Chargers, tight end Will Dissly out. Safety Elijah Molden out. All right, we got a good QB showdown here. Bo Nix, him and Sean Payton chirping at each other a little bit like two birds in a nest. Woo-wee. Something bubbling there underneath the surface. We shall see today. Nix does have 3 interceptions, 4 touchdowns. Herbert been playing mistake-free football with 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, 580 passing yards, and he's been spraying it all over the parking lot. Quentin Johnson, 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, rejuvenated, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns this year. Ladd McConkey still searching his first touchdown, 122 yards this year, and he's going to play because he did show up on the injury report. So Ladd McConkey will go. All right, on the defensive side of the ball, Deion Henley is an emerging superstar for these Chargers. 10 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and interception last week, making plays all over the place, as is Tuli Tuipulotu. 5 tackles and a pass deflection, including 1 tackle for loss last week. And they got young players everywhere. Like Tarheeb Still is one of the best young cornerbacks in the National Football League. He actually had 9 tackles last week. And Derwin James, 7 tackles last week. So strong secondary for the Chargers. And J.K. Dobbins, he faces his former team. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming into this game. 139 rushing yards through the first 2 weeks with a pair of touchdowns. How about Tony Franklin? Wasn't he undrafted? Out of Oregon, Bo Nix's teammate, 12 catches, 133 yards, and a touchdown. He leads the Broncos in receiving. Shout out to Justin Sternad, the linebacker there, good friend of the show, making plays, and Riley Moss coming up clutch for the Broncos. However, when it's all said and done, this game's a coin toss affair. It could go either way. I just like how the Chargers are playing right now. I wonder, Bo Nix, do you get it? You might want to pay attention when Sean Payton speaks, or at least show him a little bit more respect, would you? All right, just for that, I'm going to go Chargers 31-26 in a high-scoring affair. They cover the 2.5, the Chargers over the Broncos. All right, one more at the 4 o'clock game. We talked about the NFC Wild Wild West. It's up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen. The 49ers all banged up, 2-0, hosting the Arizona Cardinals, 2-0. Of course, the Cardinals really have not been battle-tested, facing the Saints and the Panthers. This will be their first true test on the road going into San Francisco, and they'll be facing Mac Jones because Brock Purdy unlikely to play according to the latest reports just this morning. So that means the return of the Mac Jones, who threw for 3 touchdowns last week, no interceptions, 279 passing yards in this Kyle Shanahan offense. Now, the good news is Purdy looks like he'll be ready to go in week 4 against the Jaguars. So if they can hang on for one more game and get Purdy back next week, the 49ers need to continue to get healthy because Spencer Burford, their offensive tackle, is out. Jordan Watkins, their wide receiver, is out. For Arizona, their rookie cornerback, Will Johnson, is playing phenomenal football. He's listed as doubtful. We'll see if he can give it a go. All right. Of course, you got 2 good backfields. James Conner and Trey Benson's really stepped up his game to form a 1-2 punch there for Arizona. We all know what Christian McCaffrey can do. He's got 124 rushing, 125 receiving. Ricky Pearsall stepping up leading the San Francisco 49ers in receiving this year. We've also got some good pass rushers. Nick Bosa, he's got 4 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks this year. Josh Sweat on the Arizona side of things with a big sack last week. And how about Calais Campbell? This guy just keeps doing it. He's damn near 40 years old. He's got a pair of sacks early on in the season. And Arizona's defense is very underrated. I'm talking about guys like Baron Brown and guys like Xavier Collins, guys like Budda Baker, who just make plays and show up each and every week. And because of that, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals here. They've been in some close games. They're going to take advantage of Mac Jones. I could see Budda Baker coming up with a big key interception. Hey, San Francisco's favored by 1.5. I'm going to go the other way in this one. A little slight upset alert. Arizona 24, San Francisco 23. This one goes down to the wire in the Wild Wild West. Sunday night's football, everybody. The New York Football Giants are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. If you told me when the season started that each one of these teams would still be searching for their first win that is, I wouldn't have believed you. Now, these two teams have not met since 2021. Kansas City came out 20-17 on top in that one. Kansas City coming in on the road, favored by 6.5. Over under here is going to be 44.5. All right, listen, the Giants, as long as they continue to play Russell Wilson, they're going to get what they deserve. 450 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, but it all came down to the costly interception there in overtime. Who are you throwing to, Russ? And don't stand up there on the podium and tell me how great you are after the game. You're 0-2, buddy. You're about to get your head coach fired. Brian Daboll is feeling that hot seat. Could we see Jackson Dart today? Could Daboll be feeling the heat? It's going to be an interesting storyline. One guy I want to see more is Cam Gadaboo. He's in there. He rejuvenates the offense. You can feel the excitement. The teammates feed off of him. And between Scadaboo and Neighbors, the Giants need to get it going. Neighbors, 238 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. And outside of Neighbors, they need somebody else to step up. Wendell Robinson has made some plays. But you know what? They just need more juice the Giants offense does. Ryan Burns has been playing lights out. 4 tackles for a loss and 3 sacks. Davon Thibodeau, 2 sacks. Of course, Abdul Carter had that blocked punt in week 1. We need to see him on the field a little bit more, shall we? All right, for the Giants, Darius Musso, the linebacker, will be out. For Kansas City, they're going to be down their cornerback, Christian Fulton, who's out, and their linebacker, Michael Dana, who does bring a little bit of a pass rush edge. He'll also be out for the Chiefs. All right, Patrick Mahomes, he's been running around playing street ball. 445 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But the more concerning thing here is he leads the Chiefs in rushing with 123 yards. That is not ideal football for the Kansas City Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco, Rutgers, baby, let's go. Let's step up your game. Now, Xavier Worthy is not going to play in this game. There was hope that he would. Xavier Worthy is going to be out. Rashee Rice has begun practicing with the team. He still has to serve a 6-game suspension. So Hollywood Brown has stepped in. Juju Smith-Schuster sightings in Kansas City. Travis Kelce has just been okay. But big news here for the Big Blue G-Men. Andrew Thomas finally expected to make his season debut. The New York offensive line has been like the subway turnstiles. They let everybody through. And I'll tell you what, George Karlaftis could have a big day. And he'll be looking to take advantage of an Andrew Thomas who should be rusty in this game, even if he does play. Marcus Mabeau out of Purdue really stepped up big last week, filling in for James Hudson, who was benched after committing 4 penalties. I'll tell you what, the Giants, they have shown some fight. They are a much improved team. But Russell Wilson is nowhere near the same class or category as Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if we'll see Jackson Dart or not in this one, but I do know this. It's going to be closer than what you anticipate. Kansas City's favored by 6.5 here. Give me the Chiefs to win, but the Giants to cover. I got KC 23, New York Giants 19 in your Sunday night football. All right. So that was our NFL pick'em. We went around the league, all 15 games, injury reports, tidbits, nuggets of information, picks. All right, we're 21-12 against the spread. We'll come back next week and see how we did. All right, we're going to take one more quick commercial break, and we're going to sneak in a little college football talk from yesterday. A lot of upsets, A lot of moving and shaking expected in that top 25 poll. So I'll give you my thoughts on the college football landscape after this quick commercial break. Smash that like button, share it, subscribe it, and we'll be back right after this. Hey, RIC in a place to be. Rick Saratella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world famous All Access Football, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report, published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off, rain, sleet, hail, snow. The show must go on. For Rick Saratella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody. All right, we're back at it again here on the All Access Football Daily Show. Rick Saratella, telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin since 2002. It's what we do, our 24th year of independent coverage over at the allaccessfootball.com platform, your home for real football talk. And I encourage you to listen to all of our podcasts, including New and Blue, QB Huddle, Scouting the League. We got a lot of great programming, of course, over at the allaccessfootball.com. It's always draft season. We got our NFL Draft Watch team reports. We updated the top 30 draft eligible prospects at each position on offense last week. This week we'll be updating the defensive big board, top 30 draft eligible prospects. We go deep. We dig deep over here at the All Access Football. And shout out to the NFL Draft Bible Scouting Department, Ryan Paglia, Lauren Davidoff, Dom Ambrose, Jarrett Regal. They are doing a phenomenal job. And, of course, the 2026 NFL Draft Bible comes out in April. We'll have over 500 in-depth scouting reports there for you to digest. Let's take a look at the college football landscape. Little thoughts and impressions from some college football action yesterday. Of course, tomorrow on Monday, we'll have a whole full segment on the college football. We'll have a full segment on the NFL. We'll have a full segment on the NFL draft. And, of course, tomorrow on the website, we've got our scout notebook, courtesy of the Draft Bible Scouting Department. A lot of prospects that caught our eye, including Max Llewellyn from Friday Night Lights against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He's going to be getting written up for sure on my end. And we've got a lot of great scouting reports. I just checked my inbox there's all kinds of prospects that you need to know for the 2026 NFL draft. Nobody does it better, baby. Often imitated, but never duplicated. I promise you. And if you're not happy, your money back guaranteed. That's a Rick Saratella guarantee. All right. Top 25 action. We could see some moving and shaking. How about the Miami Hurricanes? 26-7 over the Florida Gators. Carson Beck stating his case for the Heisman Trophy. Hurricanes stating their case to be the number one team in the nation. LSU, they take care of business against Southeast Louisiana, 56-10. We talked about Garrett Nussmeier's injury on yesterday's show. Torso injury. He's going to probably shut it down during the bye week in 2 weeks for the LSU Tigers. That is Dante Moore out of Oregon. You can get phenomenal odds on him right now for the Heisman Trophy race. And Oregon looks as good as any team. They smashed Oregon State 41-7, as did Florida State, smashing Kent State 66-10. How about Texas getting off the snide 55-10? It took Sam Houston for Arch Manning to find himself, and he's doing very uncharacteristic Manning type things, including the swag. Like, what was it? Did you guys see that? Like him standing over the defender as he barreled through for a touchdown run and then just stood over the defender like, what, Sam Houston, you want some of this? Yeah, why don't you go and try that against Ohio State in week 1, Arch? All right, let's settle down and pump the brakes over here. Now, where it got interesting, and I called it on yesterday's show, I said Indiana might just blow the hinges off the doors against Illinois. They got too much firepower, too much ammunition. Everybody was going to see how Fernando Mendoza did against this very stymie Illini defense, and they did very well. They lit them up 63-10, and I felt like the rankings here were reversed. I thought Indiana should have been number 9, and Illinois should have been 19. We'll see if the voters fix that error, because Indiana to me is a top 10 team all day. All right, Auburn, Jackson Arnold against his former team. Oklahoma couldn't get it done. John Mateer does get it done, 24-17. Oklahoma looks very good. I think they've won 7 out of 8 against top 10 ranked opponents now. Oklahoma, I totally expect them to be in the top 10 with an arrow pointing up. All right, Ole Miss takes care of Tulane, 45-10. Tennessee over UAB, 56-24. Texas Tech, this is another team. Like, they are the cream of the crop of the Big 12 as far as I'm concerned. And they just went into Utah and gobbled them up with their backup. Baron Morton goes down. Who was it? Matthews or Wallace, whatever. The quarterback for Texas Tech came in, and they didn't skip a beat. They just hammered the Utes. Georgia Tech, they handled their business against Temple, 45-24. Vanderbilt putting up a 70 spot with Diego Pavier, 70-21 over Georgia State. And Pavier, he's putting his NIL money to good use now. He's going to sue the NCAA for a 7th year of eligibility. That young man has got a lot of nerve. All right, Michigan 30, Nebraska 27. I thought Nebraska might have it in them here. And you saw baby Mahomes, Dylan Raiola against Bryce Underwood, 2 potential number 1 picks for the 2027 and 2028 NFL drafts. You know, Michigan has this habit of starting off slow and then coming on strong. So Michigan keeping their college football playoff hopes alive for the time being with a squeaky win over Nebraska, 30-27. Missouri handles South Carolina. Lenoris Sellers had that head injury last week. He did play, but he comes out on the short end of the stick. And I expected more from South Carolina this year, but Missouri wins that one 29-20. Notre Dame over Purdue, 56-30. And then the late night affair, if you were up till 2 a.m. watching this one, I give you a lot of credit. And you love football just like we do here at the allaccessfootball.com. But USC 45, Michigan State 31. The Trojans now ranked, and they should continue to move up in the top 25 rankings. All right. Tomorrow we'll talk more about individual performances, NFL draft radar, some prospects that stood out to us. But this was the NFL Pick'em Show. So it's only 11 o'clock Eastern here. You got 2 hours until NFL kicks off. If you're just tuning into the show, if you arrived a little late, we went around the league, every single game on the docket against the spread. We are 21-12 against the spread so far during this young NFL season. Hopefully we do better today. All right, like I said, we'll be back again tomorrow to talk about it, to be about it like we are each and every day, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off. It's your home for Real Football Talk. And I truly mean that. I'm going to be here each and every day with you guys talking football. That's what we do, especially when it comes to draft season. It's always draft season here on the All Access Football Daily Show. And like I said, next week, we got a jam-packed lineup. Tomorrow will be the recap show. Tuesday, we got Mike Kelly from the Continental Football League kicking off in the summer of 2026. We're going to get all the lowdown, all the details. Of course, Wednesday, each and every Wednesday, Howard Balzer joins us on the program. And then Thursday, we're going to have our guy Chad Ryder from NFL.com. So more action coming at you. I'll tell you, this hour of power just continues to fly by here on this Sunday, September 21st, NFL Week 3. This was our 21st edition of the All Access Football Daily Show, and we'll be back tomorrow with the 22nd episode. So thank you so much for tuning in, and buckle up for the action, everybody. Hey, RIC and a place to be. Rick Saratella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world-famous All Access Football, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world-famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day Circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report, published on Wednesday. It's your new home for Real Football Talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off, rain, sleet, hail, snow. The show must go on. For Rick Saratella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody.
You are watching All Access Football.